明日もこれの可能性ある。俺は一回スマホで接続してやってるよ。 音ってさ、どうすだっけ？
まだ揃ってないところがありますので、もうしばらくこのまま Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SplashGo number 13. I'm Kater, joined here today by Sasu. How are you feeling?
Uh, maybe just about as good as I can feel at 2:20 a.m.
Well,
local
yeah,
time.
we're across the pond here over in North America, so 2:20 Eastern is also 2:20 a.m. Eastern is also where I'm reporting from. So we are doing our best, chugging along, but hey, it is all absolutely worth it to be able to commentate this wonderful event here. SplashGo number 13. We are in our pools section of the tournament right now. First, we're going to be seeing, I believe this is our first seed of the pool versus our second seed of the pool, Gur Dragon versus Reef Slider Hero Reborn, or Hero Shark Ride Reborn, in as the literal translation.
Yes, and you can see on the screen those players as well. Grr Dragon, or I'm looking here, Gao Gao Dragon.
Yeah, that's the sound.
Yeah, there's Himajin, Reimaru, Norishio, and Momo. Now, as a Splat World Series caster myself, several of these players are familiar to me. So that's definitely going to be exciting seeing them do some turf rather than some Splat zones.
Yeah, and then on the side of Reef Slider Hero Reborn, we've got Rispa, Tamego, Kirara, and Nina. So all players that I'm very excited to see. But yeah, you said Turf War. That's what we're going to be seeing here. I believe best of 3 sets of all Turf War. Now, again, to us here on this side of the pond, that might seem a little bit strange. We often avoid Turf War in our competitive um, events over here, but that is not the case. Now we are going to be seeing a lot of turf war. That's very exciting to me. It's because I commentate so many North American events. I've rarely, if ever, get the chance to see it at all as a mode that is played. I think the closest that I've come seeing it at super high levels is in the North American League, where it is one of the modes that you can that you can counter pick to, and some of those top level teams will do it. But even then, I feel like a lot of the people that we're super familiar with tend to stick to those 4 ranked modes. So I'm very excited to see some turf war here.
Yeah, me too. Especially because I feel like you know that you're gonna maybe see that reflux, right? Because it paints
Mm-hmm.
so well. But on top of that, I'm really curious to see what the pro strats are from both of these teams because it kind of comes down to what people feel comfortable with, but also what gets that paint down. But here we do have the map pool rather that we're going to be looking at for this part of pools.
Yeah, there's a couple interesting picks here. I do see that ship shape, I believe, is in the pool here. We've also got. Oh, this is testing my ability to recognize these stages. That's That's Mako Mart in the middle there. Shipyard, Sturgeon Shipyard, which is not something that you see too commonly in those ranked modes, at least not here um,
Yeah,
in
it's
North
almost like a
America.
recognition sort of. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm
I
I'm
can
doing
see if
my
I can.
best. I'm doing my best. That's Hagglefish on the left there.
Yes, there's
Is that
Scorch Gorge
Scorch? Yeah, Hagglefish,
immediately
Scorch,
after.
Mako,
This is like a
Sturgeon.
Friday North American League sort of type
Yeah, it is
game
Sturgeon
almost.
Shipyard. What are the that last one?
That would be
Urchin?
Lemuria, and the last one is Urchin. Yes.
Lemuria. Okay, I feel like that is one that you pretty much never see here
Yeah.
over in North
Oh,
America.
actually, Rua Guata. No, I was like,
I
maybe I could
started
have.
reading it too, and I went, no, okay, that's a different name.
Minaru. All right, not helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that Lemuria, at least for me, that's going to be super fun to watch because Lemuria, obviously famously massive stage. So
Oh, so
having to
large.
turf that entire place, you have the whole, I guess, meta of uh, the platform that moves back and forth.
Mhm.
So having to paint there, I'm sure that's going to be annoying. Now, I think it is best of three. No,
Best of
so
3. Yes, I think
um,
our first stage might be random, and then counterpick after that, from what I'm recalling. So our first stage will be random that pool. Honestly, Lemuria almost feels like the Reef to me in a way. Calling back to Splatoon 2, you have it's a I miss it. I miss it a lot. It's a large stage. It's got the bridge over the top. It's got a bunch of side parts. It's a large stage that has um, almost a combination of that and Skipper Pavilion with the symmetrical the I believe it's vertically rather than horizontally symmetrical. The axis of symmetry is perpendicular to where it usually is, and so that's what brings Skipper to mind for me.
Well, I'm certainly going to be excited for what their picks are, sort of what you decide to go with, especially like I mentioned before, those weapons, because I feel like sometimes when it comes to North American League, I am in some of these VCs hearing what people are picking going into it, and their reasoning accordingly. But here are the listed weapons for Gur Dragon. Himajin, I think, going to in general be that cooler player, having the rapid, the pen, the dapples, probably depending on where they end up going. Reimaru, once again, going to be on that splash that I'm familiar with, or that forge, going to be super useful for the Booyah Bomb. I believe that Norishio, I think that's a carbon, but from my eyes, it looks like a V carbon, which that can't be right. Surely not a V carbon with Zap. But yeah, we might have that stamper or a pen there from Momo.
It also looks like a V carbon to my eyes. Now that would definitely be a pick for the ages if we did get to see that coming out. Looking at Hero Shark Ride Reborn, we've got another reappearance of the Dapples as well as some Splatlings. So if we get to see that mini Splatling, that is a lot of turf that will go down. But okay, so we do in fact see that Stamper coming out. We have the Reflux on both sides, no surprises there. And we also, yeah, we do see the Dapples there. Nautilus, in fact, not the mini Splatling. So we are going to see a double Splatling come out of, I believe that is a Slider Hero Reborn in the blue there.
Yes, I think that kind of just has to happen, seeing as though we are on Urchin. No one wants to be on that pen, even if it is going to be turf. So right off the top, you have these Dapples here just getting that pick. I think right now it's just a bit of a scuffle to take most of that space. Ultimately, turf. It does kind of come down to the last 30 seconds, but it certainly doesn't hurt to harass people off the top and see how far you can get.
Well, that is exactly what's happening here, though. Sniffing out those Dapples and sending them back to respawn is great. You have the Booyah Bomb coming out in mid, a little bit of displacement, responding with the Ink Storm here. That is another very valuable special in turf that I feel like is definitely not as represented in the other ranked modes, where just the consistent paint that can reach into a lot of different reaches of spawn in areas that you might not normally be able to get to is very valuable.
Yes, you see also a fight here, and I think they tried to jump out, but not quite going to happen for them there. All the while, those missiles are coming out, no doubt, from that Reflux. And I think, obviously, we knew that there was going to be a Reflux on both of these sides. That is sort of customary in turf, but I'd like to take time to bring attention to the fact that both of these teams have decided to use different refluxes. We have the Milk Reflux with the Booyah Bomb versus the one that has missiles. So I think in a big place like this, it may be helpful to have those missiles to reach the places that you can't quite get to, but we'll see how that works out for them.
Yeah, we are heading into that last minute here, and like you said, it is this part, really the last 30 seconds, that matters a lot here. I mean, even with how large this map is, that is enough time to turn around everything. We have the Zipcaster at the ready here, as well as the Booyah Bomb and the Cooler. 3 specials on the line. The rain does come out. That is going to force the Stamper to move back out of mid. The Cooler comes out. These members are a little bit clustered together, but it's time for that fabled last 30 seconds. The Nautilus going down, actually, here on Reef Slider. But Bird Dragon losing 2 members. and the Forge doing everything they can to put down a lot of paint in mid, getting into a scuffle with the Nautilus, and coming out on top has this Booyah Bomb at the ready that is going to put down so much damage in the spawn paint here. Gets another pick, goes into that flow aura, gets another, and might get, finally capping that triple off. Another Booyah Bomb going off. That is our first match complete.
Wow, and you see on that bottom right corner, Reimaru especially going on such a tirade at the end there, does end up earning his team the win there, so pretty dominant, especially in those final 30 seconds, which is especially when you need to be dominant, because all of that work, it just circles the drain if you're not able to close it out at the end there, especially with such a pretty bow like Reimaru did on that Forge.
That was, I mean, pretty much the platonic ideal of how to end a turf war match is be in a position where you can reach turf that you haven't already inked, take down people that are in your way, and get your special off, and then continue to do it. Like the special was popped at a great time so that it actually went off and allowed for more mobility after the fact, and it was just, yeah, I would say that was as close to perfect as you could get in a game in Splatoon where everything is so hard to control.
Yes, but we got a little bit cut off before we were able to quite fully expound upon all the weapons we saw coming out of Hero Shark Red Reborn. Risipa, the Dapples players that we saw a few times just kind of dodge rolling all over the map.
Sure.
Tamego, that's that Splatling player that you mentioned before who has those minis, I think was on Nautilus that last game. Kiarara, the pen player, but of course no one can quite go pen. Likely the heavy edit we saw on either side, and Nina with an interesting weapon pool here, sporting both a range blaster and an E-liter.
Yeah, both of those are really commanding weapons. The presence that they can exert over the battlefield is not really in turf, but rather in threat, and unfortunately that's not the most valuable thing when it comes to, well, turf war here. But we are going to go right into our second match here at Sturgeon Shipyard. You can see the reef sliders, or not reef sliders, sorry, refluxes. Yeah,
Close enough. There's ships at both it. Rather than Sturgeon Shipyard, it is ship-shaped cargo hold.
Did I say Sturgeon Shipyard? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Yeah, this is ship-shaped cargo company. My bad. Yeah, we have a couple of specials coming out already, actually, in the coolers from both teams, and the Inkjet here, the Stamper looking for a pick, dodge rolling, and deciding to jump out there, actually, to immediately have to engage the Nautilus, who immediately also goes down. That's 3 down for Gerd Dragon, and you can see the reef slider from those Dapple dualies. They do get punished for it, but that is a very, very forward stance.
Yes, and now they are tasked with getting back into mid, but not before that gal goes down to Nina, who is just tapping away. Now back on that pen, able to move forward as well, take that top left, and have anybody really not be able to walk there. I think you have the enemy pen, perhaps not the enemy pen. I think that may be the gal instead trying to take that spot, and so Nina gets out of dodge. All the while, it seems like a lot of members of Gerd Dragon have finally been able to take this space, especially with those chumps, and are advancing forward.
And the chumps and the pick, all great ways for them to go and take mid, take this upper left-hand space as well. This is a nice place to be, with the Jet also exerting so much more pressure, and the pick on the Dapples. This opens the door wide open for this gal, or well, yes, to go and ink this pit area here. Meanwhile, in the court, 2 members going down, unfortunately, but they are able to land 1 pick on the Nautilus there. This does mean, though, that this is a bit more of an opportunity for Reef Slayer Hero Reborn, with the power of this cooler, to start getting their sights back on mid, especially being in this little bit more danger zone as we head into the last minute of our match.
Yes, and with that time ticking, everyone knows that they have to be extra careful, and that's why you see a jump out like that. They were surrounded in this just sea of yellow, and that's just not where you want to be. So the zip is ready. I think that's being held onto for a bit until they absolutely need it. They do get a pick along with this burst, and there are missiles ready on the other hand from those from the reflux, but ultimately it's looking like things are very yellow, and because we're in the final 20 seconds and counting, they have to figure out something fast if they hope to take this game.
13 seconds to try and get out of the danger zone. The Zipcaster coming out with this finality. You see the pencil all the way on the other side trying to get something done, but the chumps go out. The reflux is painting. The Nautilus doing everything they can. Almost getting that pick at the end. So close. The missiles did go out at the very end there, so that is more paint, but by the looks of it, even with the best efforts from Reflare Hero Reborn, very close at the end there, actually, especially considering that they were in danger up to what felt like the last 10 or so seconds of that match. But our second match will still go to the Dragon.
Yes, and that is then their second win. And I agree. It seemed like they really practically had a lockout at the end there. And even so, I think we saw some blue by their base. Maybe someone was able to sort of sneak through and cause a little bit of mayhem, but not enough. You really need your whole team. It's very rare that something like a sneaky play, even in turf, will be enough to give your team the win here. But we're going to take a look at these players just setting up, probably having to, figure out how they perhaps reverse sweep this or end it in that 3-0 so they don't have to keep on going. But what I really love to see, Cater, not to be cheesy, is those smiling faces. Everyone just so cordial and clearly having a good time at this tourney. So
yeah,
definitely really cool to see.
It's a new experience for me commentating a LAN but not being there. My other LAN commentary experiences is Riptide, and in that, I'm fully immersed. When I'm done with the set, I can walk around and say hi to everybody, and I know the people there. So to be so far away from this event, I'm still glad that I'm able to have a window into everyone there. I mean, I looked at the amount of teams. 104 is staggering. Like, I can't really comprehend having an in-person event of that scale, and so I feel like being in the room and feeling the energy and seeing all of the games must be incredible.
Yeah, especially seeing as though, we're not so used to having turf-centered tournaments either. I think if there were to be a turf-only tournament, attendance would probably see a dip maybe in the West. So the fact that so many teams showed up, that you have so many top players in Japan showing up to, just play some Splatoon, that is going to be exciting when we do get the chance to perhaps talk to the players. I definitely will be excited to ask them about that, but I completely agree. Like, I also commentate for LANs, and I get off of the mic and I talk to them after the set, perhaps, and I'm like, oh, they're so far away, So that's definitely very different, especially because with all the Splat World Series and stuff like that, I think that the Western scene is familiarizing themselves way more with a lot of these top players that I myself am recognizing. So I'm like, oh, there's Neymaru, but I can't quite say hi. But but it's definitely fun to see.
Yeah, well, even though we can't say hi in person, we still send them our appreciation from across the pond, as it were. We are going to take just a short break as we set up for the next round, so please stay tuned, Jill. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
さんは？月さんどっか行った？どっか行った？なんか多分ご飯食べてる。
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the English cast of SplashGo, a LAN happening right now in Japan, a Turf Wars only LAN. Like, mind you, I'm Sasu. I'm here with Cater, and we're gonna keep going on in this pool. Gur Dragon versus Nexus Squid.
Yeah, so Gur Dragon, we just saw them and we will be continuing to see them. They are our staple team here for the matches that we'll be streaming in this pool. And then on the other side, we've got Nexus Squid. They are our third seed in the pool. We've got, in terms of players here, we have. Oh, actually, we can take a look at our bracket first. So we did just see Gur Dragon go 2-0 over Nexus. Or no. Over no team name. Wait,
Actually, and
no.
Hero Reborn. is who-
Yeah, I thought
believe yes, who we just saw them go up against, and they won 2 games against last. So that might just be an error, perhaps, because I remember specifically that it was
Okay.
restarted.
Yes. And then looking at the rest of this bracket, it looks like Nexus Squid won 2-0 over no team.
No team name, I believe.
I'm
so.
struggling to. I've done this so many times before, and still, every time, this is a weakness of mine. I struggle to read these charts. I can do everything else when it comes to tournament organizing. For some reason, I can't do this, and I tell myself every time I'm gonna learn to do it. But I guess I'll have to do it after this. Anyway, let's take a look at the members of Nexus Squid here. We have Hirorin, Poyo, Puku, Meina. No, sorry. I believe.
Maybe it is Meinaki and Poi. Wait. Puku, Poyo,
I think it's. Yeah, I think the names are Hirorin, Poyo, Puku, and Poi. I think the chart might be a little bit off.
I think so. Maybe I should double check that start TG, but at the very least.
Oh no, it is not. Okay, so it is Hirorin, Poyo, Puku, Meinagi, and Poi. Okay, very cool.
Okay. Good. We are correct there. Wait, Fes Koji. Yes, but we do have a lot of good weapons going into here. I'm gonna be on the lookout for the Dynamo. Not quite.
There it is.
Actually, there it is. And interestingly enough, it is going to be the one that has chumps and not the cooler option for them. And both teams are opting to go with the Milk Reflux, but I'll also bring attention to the fact that once again, they are running that cooler 96 instead of just having it on their pen. So I think that Gur Dragon is just really going for all aggression here.
I think it makes a lot of sense for Nexus Squid to choose that gold dynamo. The chumps are a really valuable special to have in Turf War just because of how much paint they put out. You can't destroy every chump unless you really put all your energy into it. And if you're doing that, that is energy you're not putting into other things. I do think that the combination, combining the dynamo with the blaster and the pen, both of which are weapons that don't have the super duper consistent paint output that you can get from something like the reflux or a shooter weapon like that zap. And you can see with the stark difference on how much is turfed in yellow versus blue right now. There's a lot more lines and a lot more empty space. So I wonder how they're going to compensate.
Yes, especially because right off the bat, you see that difference really also not just in weapon, but in technique. Everything is already painted yellow very neatly. I think that might be Norishio there on the Stamper, just trying to get that pick. Not quite getting it, but ultimately getting it in the end with that burst bomb. Goes back to get that soda so that they can dive just as they please. And now they're in the 1v1 with that Dynamo and do down them with that burst bomb as well. So Norishio, I think, is just being super difficult and jumping out of there ultimately. We are closing in on that 1 minute mark. Not as pivotal as maybe the dreaded 30-second mark, but still, I think this is when people are starting to be aware that they cannot go down.
2 Booyah Bombs, 1 from each side going out. Still in that danger zone. Nexus Squid doing what they can to go out of it as we get into our last minute here. I think It is going to be very difficult, especially with this Zipcaster at the ready. That special can be very aggressive, especially with Hirori and Foil on there. I think that's their main tool against this Zipcaster, the Dynamo, and everything that it stands for. But with, I mean, not popping the Zipcaster, another Booyah Bomb goes out, but it's just so difficult to dislodge these players. And it's just another pick coming out here. The Stamper in a very aggressive position. Threatening. Am I back?
I mean, I hear them, but if you can hear me, then you do see that this gal with just its fall off is able to find that pick there and is trying to close it out there on that Dynamo. There is a 2v1, but they just kind of give it up to make sure that they put on more paint, and at the end, in style, they do get that Dynamo ultimately. So once again, we're looking at a map that just has so much yellow down there, and they end it off with almost a 69 percentile. Pretty dominant there from Dragon.
Dominant indeed, and having that through pretty much all of the match, a fist bump to end things off. Going into this set, really dominantly. I had a intensely. There we go. That's the word that I wanted to say. I'm struggling to find my English language here. These players are so good that I don't know. I'm losing my
Lost for words. It's that incredible, and it doesn't help that it's around 3 a.m. But honestly, sometimes seeing really great Splatoon just leaves you with no words. I think that it's funny when you leave a game of turf, your KDs, your kills, assists, and deaths end up being relatively low compared to a full game of any other competitive mode. Part of that, of course, is because it's only 3 minutes, so it's just not going to be as long. But I think that it's so funny because it feels it doesn't feel so short. Like a 5-minute game when you're playing turf, and most of the turf I end up playing is during, let's say, during the Splatfest. I feel like it goes on forever, and I come out of it and I feel like I was killing the game, and I come out of it 3-2. You know, so seeing these players go crazy, Norishio doing so well on that Stamper, it's just like, wow, that you're able to fit all of that in that tiny bit of time.
I think part of that mindset might be that you are actively contributing at every point during a turf match, because putting turf on the ground is contributing, whereas with any other ranked mode, if you're not in the objective fight, you're thinking about how to get to the objective or how to actively contribute to the objective. So it might make things seem faster when you're constantly rushing towards that goal. But our second chosen map here is actually Sturgeon Shipyard. That is where we are now. Once a mainstay. Oh, an immediate pick coming out from Nexus Squid, who we've got this player who switched to the S-Blast, actually. We didn't see that before, but it seems to have worked out very well for them, as the Dynamo is going to pop those chumps very early on as well. Ooh, they lose 2 members very quickly, though, to what I couldn't quite see, but with the heavy edit going down the Stamper as well, Nexus Squid is quick to turn the tables in their favor once again. You see a jump out here for this Reflux to come back and paint the spawn turf. I mean, look at how quickly and efficiently this weapon paints. Just one tap of the trigger, and you can see there's not a lot of paint left in between what is put down. Like, there's not a lot of gaps, so you don't have to go over the same area so many times like you would with any other less consistent weapon.
Yeah, but you know, Cater, that's actually not a Reflux, it's an Incline mode.
Oh, wait, yeah, you're right. I'm so used to Reflux that I completely defaulted to it, but yeah, thank you. That is Incline indeed. The switch to that might actually make them play differently around the comp, but we'll have to see how that is, as we've been talking about, that Dragon has made their way all the way up to this street alley area? Yeah, this walkway, this ramp that is usually would belong to Nexus Squid, but they are fully in the danger area right now.
Yes, and I think this is Koi here just trying to clean everything up. They do finally get rid of Norishio. You have a sort of this way happening because that cooler comes out from the Dapples, but unfortunately they do go down to that bomb there that was placed, a Booyah bomb coming out as well. And I feel like every time we see Dragon, they are absolutely pushed up in the enemy spawn. You see all of this yellow paint. Everything has been painted all the way up to mid and even further. And when I'm thinking about it, the way you thought it was a reflex and it ends up being an incline bow, a large bow, cannot paint as well as that reflux, and they have an S-Blast to boot, which of course does not paint well at all. So they're really relying on these picks, and I don't know so far if it's paying out for them, but I will say we are nearing that 30-second mark, and I'm seeing way more blue than I saw in the last 30 seconds.
And no danger indicator either. This Stamper is looking up over this battlefield, and you can see how much more blue paint is up in mid. The cooler is up as well. We see a trade coming out here. That's 2 down to the side of Nexus Squid. In our last 14 seconds, the Stamper goes down as well, and suddenly it is Nexus Squid with the person advantage. This S-Blast does find a pick, goes down in the last portion of this match, and that's 3 down with just a few seconds remaining. The Stamper was back, activating the Zip to actually to get that last large burst of paint at the very end of the match. Very, very close, but unfortunately Nexus Squid was not able to come back as much as I had thought they did, looking just at the overhead view of this map, but Judd and Lil Judd are more accurate than I, and it is Dragon who will take our second match and set.
That's why they're the judges. They know those percentiles, and yeah, that gives Dragon the entire set there. But like you said, it was looking really close for a bit there. It seemed like Dragon, I don't know if it's because of the 30 seconds, and they realized, hey, we can't go down. We have to be a little bit more tentative here, a little bit more careful. It felt like they started to back off of their own volition out of mid, and I was thinking, oh, it must be because they're planning on getting this back, kind of having a blitz, getting rid of all of those, all of Nexus Squid, and then proceed to move forward. And then it felt for a bit like they weren't getting it back. As a matter of fact, several of their members were going down. And we know just how lethal to your game going down in those final 30 seconds were. So Dragon was in a little bit of a pinch, a little bit of a difficult place, and I thought we might be going to a game 3 based on that, but at the end there, Nexus Squid lost 2, maybe 3 people, and that's a death nail if I've ever seen one, unfortunately.
That combined with I think going into that, there were a couple of trades, and usually, trades are they sound neutral, but in the case of Nexus Squid, where they were fighting an uphill battle and having to actively get paint on the ground, a trade is a loss for them, because for Dragon, it's okay, they already have that paint, they already are in the winning position, whereas with Nexus Squid, they need every second, every point that they can get, and unfortunately, it's not on their side.
Yes, Dragon, well, double good for them. One, in that we're sticking with them. I don't know if they're at the same station. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We know the LAN life. It's very nice when you just kind of get to sit there, keep your switches where they are while the other teams come to you. So I think that is another 2-0 for them. They still, I think, have to go up against no team name, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe our next match, once it is set up, we will see Dragon and no team name.
So we'll see if they can make this sort of a premonition, if they can make this come true and get those straight 2-0s, because I believe they're the first seeds in this pool. So it wouldn't be completely unheard of, but it's time for the next team to see if they can finally force a game 3, but not just yet. Obviously, everyone has to set up. This is a LAN, so
That's the LAN life, like you said. We gotta switch the stations, even if one team gets to stay there. So we're gonna take that time and set up, let our players get settled in. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with more SplashGo action. Hello everybody, welcome back to SplashGo number 13, where we are in our pools right now. This is the English cast of a Japanese LAN happening live right now. If you're just joining us, I'm Kater, joined by my lovely co-commentator Sasu. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I have all this energy going. It's super exciting for me. Like we were talking right off the top of our block, rather. Turf War, a little bit kind of like a rare occurrence in the West. So the fact that we get to do this cast for pure Turf War has been super exciting and energizing for me.
Yeah, a bit of a novelty for us over here, but clearly not for our folks over on the other side of the pond. We are going to hop right into our last set of the pool, Gur Dragon, as we've seen consistently on stream, versus no team name. Our newcomers in 4th seed in the set, and right off the bat, we've got some differing weapon changes from Gur Dragon. We actually have a Winter Rapid coming out as the weapon of choice instead of that Claws 96 that we've seen before. And so that's one, it's a little bit less on the paint heavy side, but with a lot of area of effect to show for it. I think that's super going to come in handy, especially against, well, the other Winter Rapid that we see on the side of no team name, but also that Vanilla Dynamo and that Tri-Slosher, who have all gone down. That is a delayed wipe in favor of Gur Dragon, who are taking this opportunity very quickly, become very aggressive, and oh, that beautiful double coming out from the Winter Rapid, who is now in that Flow Aura, popping the cooler to top it off.
I was just thinking, yeah, they got that wipeout, but it ultimately doesn't super matter because no team name are double coolered. So yeah. The fact that they went down, they made, just like zombies, they rise back up, and quite frankly, at least in Western Splatoon, I do see double cooler a lot. I think the idea behind it is that, you know, going down those final 30 seconds is so difficult, but, and that's especially difficult for no team name because we have so much time left. We're only about 2/3 through, and you see the milk reflux just kind of cleaning everything up while the rest of their team just tries and locks out no team name completely. So that's going to be thrown back to deal with the person who's scampering into their spawn, and after cleaning that up, it's back to work in mid.
Back to work, and we've seen every single match that Gur Dragon plays how all of their side of the map is just so flawlessly painted, and it is all due to that player. It is quiet work, but it is the backbone of the team. It allows, the trust in them allows the other 3 members to come up and take these fights if they are doing so. We have the bubbler ready from his dualies here. The Twinkle dualies getting all the way out into mid. Bubble here, very nice actually, because it stops all of those incoming shots, so turf in the bubble is protected for the moment. Still in the danger zone though, as we head into our last minute, especially with this Booyah Bomb coming out, but hopefully these coolers and this jet, the pick, that is a very big opportunity for no team name. If they can get something off of this, if they can springboard off of this into mid, they can get something done.
Yes, and they have their cooler to boot, at least one of them. So once again, this Winter Rapid is going to be in mid, see what they can do, chip away. at that mid sort of section, and a lot of their entire comp is defensive. So I was going to say they have to stay up, not because we're just with 20 seconds to go, but they need their bubble in order to take that space back. This entire time, this Rapid as a backline has been sort of checking everyone, and that bubble comes out. But ultimately, those Twinkle Doolies not being there to sort of take that space, you see in that corner is that try. They go down ultimately as well, and that is going to be time. Dragon, I feel like kind of the name of the game, their playbook, is that they're able to have 3 of those members move up. Whoa, 69.6.
Very
A
dominant
game
game.
for sure. And all the while, I think it's Momo who's on that milk reflux, just kind of cleaning up the end, and not even that person who was a runner who really made a run for it wasn't quite able to get anywhere. So yes, Momo, the pen player, is the one that they have on reflux, and really putting in the work for the rest of their team, making sure everything's nice and even.
What I feel is making them so formidable as well is even when you get past mid, when you break out, you still have so much yellow to paint over. It is a sea of enemy ink that is around you. But let's look at the weapons for no team name. Actually, a lot of short range weapons I'm seeing here, and a lot of fast shooters. That Nova actually, I think, might be valuable to come out here. I feel like that's not really something you see, especially because in the other ranked modes, that is, just because of its lower damage output, but it's got a lot of that turf output, and it's got that range, which can be super important here. Do want to see if we'll see the paintbrushes come out at all. Perhaps not, just because they are a little bit slower in the actual flicking regard, but I think it would be a lot of fun to see some fresh gameplay here.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree both ways. You see, we've got some cute players, love to see the bow, but
Yes.
you gotta you gotta get into it. Just because you're cute doesn't mean that you're not fierce. So we are going straight into the next game. It's going to be Lemuria. So we have those panels we were talking about before, Gator. And I think there's been maybe a little bit of a change. They have a splash now. I don't recall seeing the crab last time around, but I think same old playbook. Dragon just diving the other team to see what picks they can get.
Yeah, but the Winter Rapid coming to shut that down pretty quickly. Another pick as well, and the Cooler coming out very quickly. So this is a great start for no team name, getting their putting out in mid here. Fortunately, the Snapper going to get that last bit of chip damage necessary to get the pick on the Rapid, and another pick down on that Dynamo, who I feel like hasn't really been able to take full advantage of the range and coverage because they just keep getting brushed down by these members. Another Zipcaster pick. We have this Stamper player on a roll, and just like before, these 3 members of Dragon are going to take a very aggressive stance, though I think that no team name has learned the Dynamo getting a nice double here. So even though they are in danger right now, they're in a much better position, I feel, strategy-wise and understanding-wise than they were before. Another pick onto a member of Dragon, and they are right back out in mid.
Yes, and once again, we just see that that chipping coming out. One of the 2 coolers supplied for the team along with it this way to make sure that they pick that up. But now they're playing a little bit careful, hugging this corner, making sure that you know, they're not just randomly going down. Despite being cooler, they do find a pick out of it. They're moving past this mid, and they jump out knowing that all of this is going down. Now, you mentioned how Lemuria is kind of like a skipper pavilion, and I've noticed that that sort of back mid section has been yellow the entire time. So the yellow team, I think that's Dragon there, they are the ones who have an incline bow instead of a reflex. As a matter of fact, no reflex coming out of either of these teams. I'm only realizing that now, but I think maybe that's why this has been a little bit more of a scuffle comparatively. It's because rather than having someone sort of AFK just painting everything with love and respect, I feel like it's been more fight heavy because there's been more fight heavy picked weapons.
Double special whammy coming out from no team named combination with the Crab and the Inkjet. I think that is 2 members going down, unfortunately, so not able to find any picks from that combination. And you can see the range that is afforded by the incline bow that Momo is wielding. Meanwhile, the other teammates have worked together to get a wipeout in the last 15 so seconds here. So even though we've got picks coming out from no team name, they are doing everything they can to escape this. Another pick coming out in our last few seconds. I believe that was 3 down on Gerd Dragon, but unfortunately, a little too late for them to fully capitalize off of that. Gerd Dragon will end the set with a whopping 75.6% of the turf games. I think that is the highest percentage we've seen all block.
Absolutely. Dominant game after dominant game. They were the first seeds in their pool for a reason. Not dropping a single game the entire time with some pretty absurd numbers for their final turf cap out. Now, no team name. They got those picks at the end, but I feel like also, unfortunately, when you're at the end there, it's kind of like I can go down because I know we have 75% of the paint. So, like you said, it was a bit too little, too late. And on a massive place like Lemuria, a wipeout at 13 seconds left is basically a death sentence. There's just nowhere to go. Even if they got the wipeout immediately at 13 seconds, I'm not quite sure that they would have been able to take the game.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would say too little. Like in any other turf scenario where you have maybe even 15, 20 more seconds to push out and you get those picks, that is a great starting point for you to be able to just flood into mid and paint everything pretty much with the splash, with the tri-slosher. They have weapons that are fully capable of putting out so much paint. And it would work out for them. But I believe, actually, so much talking that we've done about Gerd Dragon, let's actually speak to them. We are going to have the opportunity to talk to some of these players live.
That is going to be super exciting, Cater, getting those interview questions in, because we've seen them just be dominant the whole time. And I'm sure, after something like that, maybe I would kind of want a victory lap as well. Just like,
I mean, we were talking about earlier the experience of commentating at LANs when you're also attending them. You get to, once you're off the block, you get to go to the players, ask them how it was done. So I feel like it's kind of an extension of that, right? Like, I remember last Riptide I got to commentate sets where some of my very close friends were involved and popping off on stage, had some really good moments, and afterwards I got to go congratulate them, got to ask them what they thought of the set or what they were excited for coming up next. And so it's kind of like doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, oh, well, sorry, just got some word, just stuff going on in the background, because we're thinking about our questions and kind of what we just saw. I feel like, at least for Big Dapple, my local LAN, when I've gotten the opportunity to do some casting for certain matches, we get to do interviews with the players afterwards, pluck them straight off of their setups and say, go ahead, take a seat, let's ask some questions. So, yeah, like, hey, oh, hey, what's up, etc., etc. So,
for sure.
Yeah,
setting up our interview, so we will be able to see that shortly. But yeah, I think I've never been able to do an interview at LAN before. So like the whole idea of like interviewing right after an in-person game is very new to me. I've been able to do it for some online tournaments. I think I've done one. It might have even been here on Dapple. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, it is. We have Gerd Dragon. So if you want to ask something,
Gerd
please
Dragon
ask.
ready to
go ahead.
Yeah, hello, Gerd Dragon. The first question that we have for you guys is, what is your favorite part of competing in these in-person events, like here at SplashGo?
このようなオフラインのイベントの楽しいところはどこですか？桃さんよろしいですか？
やっぱり人がいっぱいいて見られながらやるっていうのがやっぱ緊張はするんですけどやっぱ楽しいですね。
So there are many audience, so he's a little bit nervous, but he can enjoy having game in with the audience.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a big part. That's a big part for me too, having the energy of everybody in the room. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, next.
じゃあ、hello, Gur Dragon. I'm Sasu. I was wondering, how are you feeling about the rest of the event? You guys obviously did not drop a game, so are you feeling excited? How are you feeling about your chances moving forward?
予選突破して明日があると思うんですけど、残りのイベントのなんか意気込みとかあれば、レイマルさんお願いします。
そうですね。オフラインなんで楽しむ前提だけど、一応メンバー強いし、多分自分もオフライン強い方だと思うので、全力で優勝目指して頑張ります。お願いします。
First of all, it's the offline event, so they want to have fun. But he thinks his teammate is very strong, so they will definitely win the game afterwards.
Oh, okay. Well, glad to hear it. Actually, a follow-up to that, is there anybody in particular that you're really excited to go up against?
ちょっと続くんですけど、明日戦うのが楽しみな相手とかっていますか？
そうですね、自分の中だと友達の黒黒とやっぱロブスター選手のところが強いんで、そこの2つが楽しみです。
He wants to against with player named Kurokuro and Lobster.
ロブスターさんはすごいね。I had an extra question for Momo-san. Momo-san plays.
ももさん呼ばれてます。He's ももさん。
Momo-san, konnichiwa.
Hi.
I know you play the snipe rider weapon, but you are playing tri-stringer, storinga, bow. Do you also play this weapon? How did it feel playing it for your team?
弓とか、いろんな武器使ってたと思うんですけど、どうでしたか？難しかったとか感想とかあれば。
味方が強かったので、結構塗ってるだけでしたね、最初は。はい。
He's saying that his teammate is very strong, so he said he's just covering. So using the different, many kind of weapon is not that so difficult for him today.
Oh, okay.
わかりました。じゃあ。
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
I
so
believe...
do you have any other, one more question?
Oh, yeah, if we have the time for one more question, sure thing. Is there anything that you are especially excited for in the upcoming Splatoon Raiders release?
Okay, so I will ask Norishio-san about it. 次のスプラトゥーンレイダーズが発売されると思うんですけど、なんか楽しみなこととかありますか？
楽しみなこと？楽しみです。楽しみです。
私
He's just said
he's looking forward.
He's looking forward to it.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. We are too. Thank you so much for talking to us, guys. It was wonderful to speak with you.
Thank you,
ありがとうご
guys.
ざいます。Dragon, thank you.
Thank you. That's all for now.
Wow, that was so cool getting to talk with the players. I feel like this whole time I've been chomping at the bit, like, I'm feeling the LAN energy, but I'm alone in my room at 3:30 in the morning. I want to be part of it.
I'm feeling it too, so I'm so happy that we got to connect with these players and get some insights for them. It was super fun watching them play. That is going to do it for this us on this block, I believe. As we are wrapping up this pool as part of the LAN, we are going to have a bit of a break as they set up the next pool, if I am not mistaken. But that will do it for us. Very quickly, Sasu, where can the wonderful people in the audience find you on the internet?
You can find me anywhere at Sasu in your pants, SASUIN, the letters UR, pants, and I'll be there. Twitch, Instagram, whatever. But Cater, if they want to keep up with you, where should they go?
Similarly, you can find me Blue Sky at cater.inkling.social, and you can find me later today for all you North American folks on the Nintendo North American League
Saturday.
stream. Yeah, it is Saturday, so I will be there later in the evening doing what I love to do most, which is be on the mic and talk to you guys. So that is not all that we have for you. There is so much more SplashGo action that is going to be streamed to you live here from Dapple. We are going to take just a short break, though, and get all of that ready for you. So, guys, stay tuned and stay fresh.
れでやってますか、ここで。そうです、やってます。じゃあ、一旦開始していただいて大丈夫です。で、これかな？はい。あ、じゃあちょっと写真だけ。OK です。押しながら、引っこ抜くといけます。あとは何が届かないです。あとは
僕の鳥翔さんって覚えてたら大丈夫です。返却のあれだけメモっとかないといけないんで。
あ、メモりました。
ありがとうございます。
OK です。
当てて、使ってから言って。
ちょっと今のところエラー出てないんで、なんかあれだと思うんですけど、エラー出たらまた言ってください。
あいつ。はい、来いよ。早いよ、投げるの。あ、出ちゃった。痛い。いやいやいやいやいやいやいやいや。惜しいっすよ、こいつ。ガチやった。当てるんだよ。やったんだよ。
スでも勝つの？え？ウエストも勝つの？勝つわけなくね？やばい。クマロ。
開始まで10分を切りました。選手の方は、今一度ステージに座って付属の確認をお願いします。もしカプチャに入れないよとか何か不具合がありましたら、そこまでお声掛けください。17時に試合開始予定となっております。
俺のずさんな保存方法がバレてしまう。お前思んないぞ。いや誰で勝ったかというと、誰がハマるかお前ら。そうだよ。本体にちょっとダメなんだよ。そうなんだ。あ、そっか、あれか。ガチャで。どこにつけるのこれ？モニター？モニター。お願いします。お願いします。モニターにつけるの？どこ？本当？モニターにつけるって言ってた。怖いね。どこ？あんな端っこにいる。あんな端っこ。カウリングするって言ったけど。やばい、魔法できないですよ。
伝達オッケー離れてめっちゃ欲しいそれ
Ready to watch. We are in pool D1, if I remember correctly. Yes, pool D1. Ready to watch 3 teams fighting for their spot in what's next in the tournament. We're going to start, without further ado, with Destreza going against no team name. Hat?
That's a very good team name. I really like that. But this, I think, is just so cool that we can get to cast some Splatoon on the other side of the globe, because, well, the West and Japan still have a bit of a separation issue for competitive Splatoon. So getting to see what they're doing in Japan and getting to see how they play at LAN events is so interesting, especially all the preparation that has been done by both SplashGo and the production. Destreza with Rusu, Okura, Toto, and Rentana, which I'm going to be honest, I might forget those names, but I already like Rusu's name with that dynamo, or not name the weapons, with that dynamo. That's such an oddball weapon. Here in the West, we don't see it ever. Nobody plays dynamo. You're crazy if you do it. But in Japan, it found its spot. It definitely has found its way as the backliner. I also like how they have the splat links. Toto is hard committed on that decaf, and you know, I can see that decaf still super strong in Splatoon.
Yeah, and Hat, if you look at the second column on that graph, I believe the first crown means their placement during Splatfests. So 2 gold crowns means they got, if not first, like in the top 10 of their team for Splatfest. So they're very strong Turf Wars players. The second crown is for their placement in Caution. So 3 of these players got at the national level in like very well placed in a high level Turf Wars tournament. That's an impressive team. That's a very strong team that you'll have to pay attention to.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around with these guys. Therefore, of course, being very big in Japan, and when we were asked to set up some questions for these players, I think one of the things I wanted to ask is what they think of in the West not using Japan.
Yeah.
Starting off with getting us second place, the Dangerous Pasta 4 Kings, and they just switch it up. Amona Ama, Shiromon, Huona Arena, and Yoha Moru. There's already completely different weapons compared to what we saw on the other team. No crowns though, so maybe they're not that competent of Turf War players, but I think, you know, with how big Turf over there is, I think they're gonna still smash me to pieces. But I like seeing those Glugas. You basically never see Glugas in a tournament here ever, and I really wish they did. I really wish they would be played here more often. The map pool, Jerain explained this to me, but I already forgot, so I'm gonna try my best. There are 7 maps, and they will be randomly picked, and I think every map has been played, it will be taken out of the randomizer.
Yes, we are in a best of 3, and we're going to get 2 or 3 random maps out of these 7 ones. So these are the 7 possible maps. It will be random, chosen by the game. So that's how it's going to work. And one thing to remember, Hat, is that this is a big LAN, and you have all kinds of people coming to hear Destreza, a very good player, 4 Kings of Dangerous Pasta, coming. Looks like a bunch of friends coming. I've been told that even a few teams are coming that are co-workers that just made a team with their co-workers and came to play a tournament. And that's a thing that happens. But let's get right in the game. I guess we're going to start with Urchin Underpass. And as is customary on Urchin, there's a few dapples. And one thing that is also customary for Splatoon, Hat, is to have disconnect. Even in LAN, it still happens.
I like how it also just instantly happened. Like the second one, it already happened. But oh, like the little reflux bow, especially in Turf War. I remember like early Splatoon 3, or just when the reflux just came out. It was such a strong weapon because of the missile spam. And I think in game modes like Turf War, it still really shines. And but one of the things, what I liked about watching Japanese Splatoon is just because they're playing like the different game modes, they also just have such a different meta. It's so less predefined than we have here in the West, which does allow for these, like the Dapples, which do occasionally come out here in Europe and America, but especially like the Reflux and the Glugas to come out because they have their niches in that map mode combination.
I mean, the Dapple Julies, especially in Urchin Underpass, have really found a niche. It's the kind of map where you're constantly in a short range fight, and Dapples can absolutely shine there with the beacons that allow the team to respawn faster, which is so useful. And especially in Turf Wars, your ability to respawn, to come back, is so important. But let's get back in the game. People are still excited, but reminder, in LAN, you don't want to be too excited. Don't hit the table or you'll disconnect. Let's get in the game hat now. Everybody's ready. Everybody's in. And already both teams have their reflux in the back to paint the spawn as the rest of the team is coming to fight for the control of the middle of the map.
Yes, and I think it's important for the reflux to paint the spawn quickly because they needed to get their specials up and running early. Turf War is a long game, and even though it's definitely shorter in time than other grand game modes, it definitely feels a lot longer. But the Streza, if they're in yellow, they are going in deep. They are pushing it like mayhem. They're already in that base. It's still going. Somebody did go jump back to spawn though to get some extra paint in for the special. But what a push from the Streza already.
Yeah, these Reflux, they have the Reflux with Booyah Bomb, so they're painting spawn going forward to use their Booyah Bomb where everybody else is. Or just to paint some more, I guess. As the fight seems to be going very well for Destreza right now. We're at the end of the first minute, and we see the Kings of Pasta are in danger. So much map control for Destreza, and especially since Destreza have the heavy Splatling. That Splatling is outranging everybody. Now they're forced out because this map has so many ways to cut the distance, but right now Destreza has so much yellow paint around.
Slowly, however, we do see the four Kings of Dates of Pasta pushing in further and further, so they're slowly getting out of their spawn, but they have to win some of these fights in the middle of the map, and 2 players down already. Again, that's not how you want to fight. And ooh, the hammer misses, and that causes a wipe out to occur. Now in Turf War, that is major damage because the objective is the real map, so you can just paint over everything oh so quickly, and the Streza is not wasting a single second. They are already going in and setting up their defenses and pushing in further, but they're not opting to push really deep into that spawn. They're still waiting at the bunker of the four Kings of Pasta because they don't want to, rush in and they all get splattered and suddenly lose all the ground they had left. It's about 45 seconds left, Pat, and the four Kings of Pasta, they have to make some plays now.
I mean, Destreza right now are controlling this map, are so impressive. They're able to be everywhere and not let their opponent take any space, simply waiting. Last 30 seconds, they have the bubbler ready, and they don't even need it. Just they get extra splat, then they activate the bubbler, simply getting more and more control. Incredibly confident now with just 15 seconds left. They just lost 2 players. That will allow the Kings of Pasta to get some ground back in, but they are forced to chase people in their own spawn hat.
That's the danger of Turf War. It's sometimes super difficult if someone gets to spawn to get them out if you don't get rid of them quickly. And look at that map. I think it's safe to say the Streza won this one by a long shot. The four Kings of Dangerous Pasta, a good meal to cook, but they have kind of cooked right now.
Hey, we've been to LANs. It's like that. Whatever the LAN you're in, there's always a monster you have to face in the group stage at the start of the LAN to know before you can be placed there. And that's part of why we want to be at these events. You know, you want to meet your friends, you want to see the best in the scene. And that's all these people are here for one reason, is because they love these silly games where squids fade the ground.
I mean, there's not yet a game like this, so actually that's not true. There's one, but we don't talk about the PlayStation game. But I think you're absolutely right. These LAN events, it's not about winning or losing. Of course, it's a nice bonus, but in the end, they're all here to have some fun, like you said, meet their friends, and you can also learn a lot from people at LAN events, because especially after games, you just start talking to each other. Oh, hey, how did you do that? Where did you pick up this? What's the strategy called? And you get talking, you're gonna get networking, but at the end of the day, you also learn a lot. So even if the four kings of Dangerous Pasta definitely got destroyed a little bit there in that game, it doesn't mean they come out of this sour, because there's still a lot of them to learn. And, you know, if we look at the camera at the bottom, I think they're also just having fun being there at a LAN event, and I completely have to give that to them, because it's just so fun to be there.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see. We want to see good games, but first of all, we want to see fun. Right now, Destreza is giving us the good game they had. They were fast, they were going in, they didn't know fear, and every second they had the opportunity to go forward, they would simply dive forward, try to take space. Now let's get right in Sturgeon Shipyard. Remember, it's best of 3 right now. Destreza, if they can repeat what they just did, that would be the end of this set. On Sturgeon, we'll have a lot of ledges, a lot of places to hide, and create some chaos.
And I really like how the four kings of Dangerous Pasta swapped up some of their weapons to be a little bit more aggressive. Less paint on the map, but definitely way more splatting power. And I think that's what they need, because they were losing the fight by a long shot. The Strays are opting to paint the map super quickly in their spawn already, but it does leave some room for later in the game, where the four kings of Dangerous Pasta have more spawn, paint in their spawn. Sorry, I lost my word there. Paint in their spawn to get some more specials, but I think the Strays doesn't really care about that yet, because they are already taking claim of middle of the map.
And one thing to note as well, Hart, is how both of these teams are very much adapting to the map. We saw the Dapples on Urchin Underpass because that weapon is so good here. Now it's the Tri-Slasher that's here to provide the tactical. And on here, look at how powerful the Tri-Slasher is. All these ledges are so good for a Slasher, and the Tri is having a field day.
Don't forget that Fizzy Bomb also over those little ledges. You might hit on top of that, but they could suddenly jump down, deal a lot of damage, but it also paints a lot. I think if the Strays are in the purple right now. No, it's not the Strays, right? This is the four King Dangerous Pasta. Yes. They are still in danger, but they got out of it now, and now they are pushing forward. Now they're setting up their offenses. They have to kill it at the ready. Missiles are coming out though from the Strays, so they have to move to avoid those, but also keep the paint on the middle of the map. The 96 going in. Can they get the spell on the decaf? No, they can't, unfortunately. We're so low. That's effective 3 players down on the side of the four kings. And I think because of that, the Streza has another opportunity to massively push in that spawn again.
And they're in. They didn't waste a split second. They are in that spawn, activating the bubbler, knowing that even if they get splatted, they would move back in. They would be so powerful. There's so much yellow as we are going into the last minute. The music just switched hard, and the four kings are struggling to get back forward.
They have to find a way in. They have to get the splats in. 40 seconds is still enough to turn this game of Turvor around. And they just need to get some entry, but they need to get an entry point, and that's the difficulty with the Strays, that they are disallowing any entry points in this map. The Blobbler goes down on the side of the four kings, but so was one player on the side of the Strays, but I don't think it's enough because 2 players on the four kings went down again, and I don't think the four kings with 20 seconds remaining, but it's gonna be really difficult.
Yeah, it's very rough right now. Destreza know that all they need to do is paint in front of themselves, not let their opponent get back in. 3 players down, it's a wipeout, it's going to be game. Destreza, once again, dominating their opponent, really making a statement. People like to say that, oh, Turf Wars is so chaotic. You can control that chaos. The Stressor can control that chaos.
Oh, definitely. I think Turf War, it's chaotic because people just don't know how to play this game mode. But it's a bit of an endurance game where you just set up, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And at the end, you just go full all in, unleash all the specials at the last minute, 45 seconds, and then hope you kind of push your way through your opponent. Of course, that goes for both sides of the coin. So both sides obviously are doing the same strategy. And sometimes, in a match like this, it just comes down to, I think, player skill. I think in that regard, the Streza was a better team than the Four Kings of Dangerous Pasta. And it sounds a bit rude because I think the Four Kings of Dangerous Pasta had some interesting plays as well and definitely showed off some interesting weapons.
Yeah.
But sometimes, it is a hard fight. But the Four Kings, they still have a chance later in this tournament, in the bracket, to set themselves up for a potential victory still. So they're not out of this picture yet, but the Streza beautifully done with this 2-0 here.
Yes, and we're going to see more of the Streza. They're going to face the last team in the group because there's only 3 teams in this group right after this very short break. We're going to set the lobby and we'll be right back. The Streza versus Pokemon.
初見さんいらっしゃい。聞こえてますか？本当に？でもマイクだよね。ね、マイクだよね。配信見ればわかんじゃない？確かに。え？聞こえてますってコメントに出てて。2個割れるって言われてる。謝っときな。ごめんなさい。おー、聞こえてるって。すげえ。試合中の声も聞こえてるらしい。マジか。すげえ。カメラはどこなの？いや、全然けど大丈夫です。ありがとうございます。おい、お前らスパチャ来てるぞ。そこだけ。これマイク。マイク。乗る。運営配信じゃなくて僕の個人配信に投げてください。はい、大丈夫。銭ゲバ。やる気だ。あいつ。いつでもいける？暑いな。不安になかったかな。当たりが聞こえたかも。不安になっちゃった？え？不安になった？なんで？僕のラクトが不安になったからそれ。全然。さゆりがやった？はい。何もしてない。ローカルのやつランにするだけ。イカちゃん。ZL と ZR と、そう。やりすぎてるやつだけ。もう先なの？終わりなんだけど。やばい。カラオケ行きたくない？行きたい。マジ？俺、優子の家泊まったら死ぬ可能性があるんだ。
ない最後俺竜宮投げ方したらもう帰るから今日いけるメンタルの調子いい
まあまあまあまあ
デカナインのフォーカスめっちゃあったな気がする
確かによかったどっち応援してんの ?630 人
それさ絶対俺のおばあちゃん見てるんだよ
おばあちゃん河合さんのおばあちゃん頑張ります
せめて上の名前で下の名前で言えよ
はいでも下の名前言ったらもう全部で
そうもう今もう終わりだよでもこの会話聞こえてるらしいだからもう絶対た前傾姿勢になったらもういる姿勢がある
選べませんのでわかる
フルスなのに買ってこれ
Welcome back to Dapple Productions, still here, casting this LAN SplashGo 13, a Japanese event, and we just watched the Streza cook the 4 Kings of Dangerous Pasta. We saw Pokemon also doing some crazy damage, and now I think this is the more anticipated match of the pool D1. These teams are mainly built out of streamers. They are fearsome players, and we already saw the achievements of the Streza, but I've yet to see the achievements of the Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean,
there
Pokemon hasn't played yet. So.
Chikashi, Sugi, Kotaji, and Hakuri. Both of these, or 3 of these members, doing very well in the Splatfest. Is that the latest Splatfest, I reckon?
Yes, it's
okay.
So if I remember correctly, that's placement for the latest Splatfest. I believe Silver Crown means they got top 10 of their team. So pretty good.
That's really good for Turfor.
Yep.
And also look at these weapon spat. The only Chikashi, who is definitely more of a flex player, opting to either play the Reflux or the Tentebrella. But everyone else, Suki, Kotaji, and Haruki, just sticking with one weapon and hard focusing their skill on that, which I think is super interesting to see. And I love seeing those weapons as well, especially that Dapple, or the regular dually splat shot. I keep forgetting the name. Dualies. Let's call them dualies. That's just a nice one to see, but I already see a different weapon. Hey, these are not what I was shown. Suddenly there's a Nautilus on the field instead of the heavy edit, which I think also is definitely a fun weapon. You see again both of these refluxes sitting in their spawn, painting as quickly as they can to get the special online, either the Buoy Bomb or the Tentamissiles. Tentamissiles definitely being a very strong weapon as an opener here in Turfor, because it allows you to gain a lot of ground, but also just gain ink and annoyance. Big splat by the dualies looking for a second player. Sees him in the middle, tries to go forward. I think that's the Decaf. Yes, it is. Decaf misses the shot, but plays out a bowler and still gets the splat. Very well done. Now Petter still fighting, and the Decaf is not slowing down.
That decapitator is so impressive, so fast, and they survive. They get away. Okay, they're finally splatted, but they spent so much time right there. Now Kotachi going in with the bubbler, and it looks like Pokemon is getting back control of the mid, are pushing back in, but they're not able to stay in. Destreza, we saw them so strong, and once again they set themselves in the strongest position so that they can hold longer.
And now they have to test their strength to hold it, because Pokemon, they are hungry. They want to get out of their spawn. It's about halfway through the first round, and Pokemon is in the danger still, not having any room to breathe, not having any room to move. The trash is coming in. Oh no, 3 players down, and that's a delayed wipe on the side of Pokemon. And these two teams, they were set. These are the 2 teams in this pool, but the Streza, they don't care at all. They're just showing, no, we are the team of this pool, and going even deeper than they were going against the 4 Kings of Dangerous Pasta.
And we are about to enter the last minute, and look at this map.
Oh my gosh.
It is yellow. Pokemon able to get rid of the opponent's Decapitator, getting 2 splats now. They'll have the opportunity to move back in, but they don't have much time. They need to win their fights as the opponent's reflux is already behind them.
And there's 3 players down on the side of Pokemon again. No, that's on the side of the Streza this time. They might actually have a chance here. Sorry, I just mixed with the teams. This is actually what Pokemon needs, but they only have 28 seconds to get as much pain on the board as possible. At least out of the danger zone path, and they have an equal playing field. And there goes the Slosher. But they might actually come back from this.
They might, but all of Destreza has respawned. All of Destreza is still in the fight. 10 seconds left, and it's Destreza that's taking a few extra splats. Everybody fighting left and right. Wait, Pokemon fighting hard. Are they able to come back? It's all going to be down to Paint Hat.
And Paint is, I think, still on the side of the Streza. Pokemon did definitely get out of their spawn and stop being out of the danger zone, but 53 to 43, unfortunately. The Streza does win game number 1, but Pokemon, the fact that they got out of their spawn is huge, and it does mean that they have a lot of fight in them, and they're not easy to just walk over. But I think the early game, they were just a bit inconsistent. They were a bit, I think, too aggressive, but that also allowed the Streza, who were playing a bit slower, to just take all the fights right out of the box and just set themselves up. Which I think Pokemon, now that they know this, I think they can definitely adapt to this playstyle of the Streza, and I think in the game 2 we'll have a more interesting match.
Yeah, I mean, Destreza just built so much of a lead, of an advantage at the start of the game, and then even when Pokemon was able to get the splats, get bad ground, there was so much yellow paint around the map that moving forward was hard for them. There was so many opportunities for Destreza to just put a player to the side behind them that forced Pokemon to look back, and Pokemon was struggling to move back in. Having that kind of lead, that kind of map control really gives you more presence, and we are circling around the same maps. We are back onto Urchin Underpass, and both of these teams are bringing the Dapple duties. Now, one thing to note, Hat, is that Pokemon is playing with the double Tacticooler, which means they'll respawn even more and more. If they're able to cycle these Tacticoolers well, they'll be constantly moving forward and respawn.
And I think that is the importance of the Tacticooler, and it's definitely in a long map like Urchin Underpass is getting to respawn back quickly now. I think Pokemon is doing a bit of a better job than they were in the first game. They're spamming all those Booyah Bombs and slowly setting themselves up to push forward. Somebody from the Streza is flanking though. Can they get rid of the player? No, they're still in little sneaky. Yes, they get rid of them now. That is good. The reflex does go down for the Pokemon, but I don't think they care about that too much right now. Ooh, but that decaf, that's not the weapon you want to face as a Splatling, especially in an area like that where you have no cover at all. But I think now they're doing a very good job in this equal mid fight here.
Yeah, right there. End of the first minute, and these two teams are still fighting for mid. Controlling the center of the map means you control the pace of the game, and right now it looks like it's Pokemon getting a bit more space, building a bit more advantage, and I mean they have the tools to push forward. They have what it takes to take more and more control. We're halfway through the game, and the Stressa, I think it's the first time we see them really on the defensive hat.
They're definitely the first time we see a team fighting against the Streza on the defense. Because the Streza now, they're struggling to get out of their spawn, they're struggling to get the splats. Urgent Underpass definitely works a lot better for Pokemon than Sturgeon Shipyard did. Now we do see a lot of specials and stop spamming from Pokemon. They're playing it safe, they're not aggressively going in. You can see that because the danger status from the Streza has now vanished and it's just regular, and these two squids are all equal inside, but Pokemon still holding the advantage on the map here. We do see that the Streza is playing a bit more aggressive now, and Pokemon failing to respond properly. 2 players down on the side of Pokemon, only 1 player went down on the side of the Streza. It is decap though, so it's very good for the offense, and there goes the second player of the Streza and Pet Pokemon. Now they have to push in it, but more importantly, they have to win their fights.
Yeah, right there at the Streza. Fighting to push in. There's still so much blue around, but Pokemon is playing off of their advantage so well. And as they're repainting their spawn, they're holding the control. 20 seconds left. Both teams still looking at each other, but Booyah Bomb is ready for the Stressa. They want to use that Booyah Bomb at the best time. Here it comes, 10 seconds left. They're throwing in far away to get more paint as they are coming in to paint more and more and more, pushing in. I'm not sure where Pokemon was, but right there, Destressa at the last second were able to push back in. There's still a lot of blue though.
But not enough, unfortunately. The Streza, another 2-0 with Pokemon this game, I want to say. They did a fantastic job. Even setting the Streza in the danger zone is really, really good. But again, look at this, look at this Streza. I think they're seeded third. I mean, come on, Ruzu and Renata both, or Rentana both, first in their respective Splatfest team. 2 other players, Okora and Toto, also in the top 10. And just the weapon composition they have running as well. It's so versatile. You can do so much with this.
Yeah, and I mean, the player that really impressed me right there was Toto with that Decavitator. Always forward, always in the fight. Very, very powerful. And I mean, this team, the Streza right there, showed us an incredibly strong game. And Pokemon able to fight them, but at the end of the day, at the end of the 3 minutes, one team was on top. One team had more paint, and both times it was the same team.
The Streza 4 games in a row. I think the only thing we can say is just very well done.
All right, and we'll be showing Pokemon versus the Noodle Kings, but before we do so, Destreza has been crowned the winner of this group because they've beaten everybody. And I believe we have good luck. We'll be able to ask them a few questions.
Ooh, that's interesting. I love having interviews, especially with these players overseas who are honestly, in my opinion, just on a straight up different level than us here in Europe. So I think we're going to get our interview ready right now. I'm kind of nervous.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, it's coming right now, so please wait for me. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So as we can see, I mean, Destras are just 2-0, 2-0. Very, very dominant in what they can do. Very, very great control of the game.
Yeah, I mean, look at the score. I feel like the Strayza versus Pokemon hasn't updated yet, but 2-0, 2-0. Just straight out of the gate. And only, I think there was one moment where we felt like the Strayza might be in a bit of stress. And that was against Pokemon in the second game. But even then, they somehow came back with a 10% difference in the turf, in the overall, in the map percentage, which still it's a nice comeback. And
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we are with.
があると思うんですけれども、貸していただいた回収、各自で回収していただいて構いません。
Okay, so thank you for waiting. So we are here with Destreza, the winner of the game. So you guys can ask question to them.
So, the Strayza, hello.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Congratulations on winning the first pool with a double 2-0 victory. I think this is really well done. And my first question, I think that's coming from a lot of us, is what do you think of the differences in formats in tournaments? That here in Japan, Turf War is a very big part of the tournament scene, but in Europe, in America, we don't play it at all.
Okay, so you mean that you guys don't play the truffle in the tournament, and then you want to know what do they think about it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
海外でのスプラトゥーンの大会では縄張り基本使われないことが多いんですけど、ガチマッチのルールが多い中で、縄張りの大会とガチルールとか、日本が縄張りの使用をすることについてどう思いますか？難しいと思うんですけど。
まあ結構なんだろう、日本人って結構自分の役割をこなすのが得意みたいな、よく言われてて、縄張りって自分の役割をしっかりすることが大事だと思うんで、合ってるのかなと思います。
Lus-san said that Japanese people tend to do their roles. So doing the truffle is very, good for us, like good for our personality.
I like that.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So for the whole team, like how was Destreza formed? Did you make the team for the event, or have you played together before?
Can you say that once again?
How did you make the team Destreza? Did you play together before this event, or did you just make it for the occasion? Like, how long have you played together, basically?
Okay. このチームは結成どれぐらいですか？このスプラッシュ号のために作ったのか、ずっと一緒にやってるのか？
結成なんかもともと仲が良くて組んだりしてたから、この大会に出るってなってまた集まったけど、そもそもの集まり方はもう2年ぐらいですね。
They used to be just friends, so they have been knowing each other for 2 years. So they were a friend before this event.
Oh, I like that. So, you have, of course, there's a bit of a skill difference, I think, between Japan and the West. What's like a big tip you could give to people who are looking to improve in Splatoon?
彼らが思うに、西洋よりも日本の皆さんの方がスプラトゥーンがうまいと言っていて、なんかアドバイス、スプラトゥーンがうまくないなと思ってる人へアドバイスがあればお願いします。
俺か。そうだね。X マッチ、ガチマッチをいっぱい潜ることです。
He suggests to play the X match as much as possible.
I already tried.
I guess. Play the game is a good
Play the game,
advice.
play the game.
Yes.
All right. Is there a team or player you really want to face this weekend?
You mean the like goal or achievement like that?
Are there like rivals, someone they really want to face and
Okay,
to
got
play
it.
against?
Okay. 今回の大会で絶対勝ちたい相手とかっていますか？
相手誰だろう。プレイヤー、まあ、メロン。メロン出てる。
They want to win against Melon from Micronesia. I forgot the team name. Melon.
Yeah. Okay.
And Melon, incredible player, of course.
I think that did also answer our last question. Is what was the goal for this weekend? But I think that's kind of already you kind of already answered the question with winning.
Okay. 今週末というか今週この大会というか含めての目標とかなんかゴールがあればチームでお願いします。
やっぱ、仲がいいので、長く楽しむには、全勝しかないから、優勝します。
First of all, they want to have fun. To have fun, they won't lose any game. So they will win all the games and then they will be the first place.
That's a really good answer. Well, Destreza, thank you so much. And again, congratulations for winning your first set today. And I'm excited to see what more we can see.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, that was Destreza right there, who just won their group. But that pool is not over yet. The four kings of Dangerous Pasta are now facing Pokemon in this set, and they're already playing, it seems.
Yeah, we just got dropped into chaos straight away, and I keep getting a name of the subway map. Muria, which is like the one map. It is symmetrical, but like really symmetrical. But yeah. I think this is such an interesting map, and I kind of said we never get to play this here in the West. But this map on Turfar is such a chaotic battlefield, and the four kings of Dangerous Pasta, I believe, actually both teams are running that arrow spray on this map, which has just Booyah Bomb spam. But that's such an interesting weapon choice for the Booyah Bomb spam.
It's on here especially because you can always see the middle of the map from anywhere on the map, because the way the map is made, you can always throw a Booyah Bomb somewhere. It's going to be useful. So I think it's a very, very good move by them. I believe it's Pokemon in blue right now that is taking a lot of control and getting the Express Glad.
Yeah, they are doing a ton of work trying to get this sorted out, trying to get as much paint at the map as quickly as possible, but also keeping their enemy in that danger zone, because it helps them a ton by just allowing them to have more paint on the map. And it also buys a bit of time, because your opponent first have to get out of the danger zone before they can really start winning again. Yeah, they can win the fights, but they still have to paint the map, and it will buy them precious time, which with only a minute left, it's a luxury to have time.
Yeah, and 1 minute, and there is so much blue for Pokemon right there, absolutely holding the map ahead.
Yeah, Pokemon, they're not messing around. I mean, I think they might have been upset about the loss with against Destreza. Yeah. Now they're putting all the aggression onto the four kings of Dangerous Pasta, but it is so hard for the four kings to get out of their spawn right now. They have the Booyah Bomb ready, but there's no player on the side of Pokemon down. The Booyah Bomb, I don't know, they don't know where to throw it. They're debating, throw it in the middle of the map, and there is a player down. It's the Doolies, and this might be the opening that the four kings are looking for, but they lost their Reflux. They lost their biggest painting weapon The Aerospray is, of course, still on the battlefield, but that does not paint as much as the Reflux does. And now Distemper fighting against 2 players on this team of Pokemon gets splattered, and with 3 players down pat and 10 seconds remaining, and a wipe out even to boot. And a map which is completely covered in the purple ink. We can safely assume that it is Pokemon who wins this round. And look at that. If that's more than 20%, I'll be surprised. Wow. Okay.
Just a tiny bit more, and had that Stamper for Dangerous Basta was able to hold their position for so long, was able to stay there for so long, but the rest of the team was not able to follow. Pokemon was all around the map, making sure nobody could connect, nobody could join, and really that overall map control, that overall control of the pace of the game, of where anybody could be, allowed Pokemon to really make sure everything would go their way. That is a game for them here on the Lemuria. Very, very strong showing by Pokemon. And yeah, I mean, I believe that was game number 1. If you could confirm that to us, Jorian, that'd be nice. But so I believe that is 1-0 for Pokemon. Yes, it's confirmed. 1-0 for Pokemon right there. 4 Kings of Dangerous Pasta still have a chance and coming back. But I mean, that's going to be very rough. And I'd like to shout out, each team was asked if they want to send a message to everybody, and their message is all humans should eat pasta. I could not agree more.
As someone who made a mad pasta pesto yesterday, yes, I think all humans should eat pasta. If you have not eaten pasta yet in your life, what are you doing? And of course, Pokemon, we aim to enjoy and win. That's the spirit right there. Well, there might be a Destroyer team in your way for that to make that happen, but I mean, they still had a good job. And I think with that first win, they definitely set themselves up to get out of the pool here. Now, the 4 Kings of Dangerous Pasta, they can technically still get out of the pool. It will be a little difficult, but I think it can still happen. They're going to go now. We see the S-Blast, we see the N-Zap. On the other side, we see, I think, not a big change there. The Aerospray did switch to the was the Reflux or the Aerospray switch to the Slusher? I'm not entirely sure. But some switches. But the S-Blast in this map is such a strong weapon, and it's one of the best weapons in the West. Gray used it all the time, for example. It just does damage, it just does pain, it is just a pure annoyance. And when I went back to play Splatoon, I picked the S-Blast and said, oh, it's pretty easy. And oh my gosh, when it was happening, an early wipeout for the 4 Kings of Dangerous Pasta pet. Pokemon is not messing around at all right now.
And on this map, on Chip Shape Cargo Company, getting out of your spawn, getting through that white space that we have right there, that will need a Booyah Bomb there. It is so hard to go through, especially when the opponent has a heavy Splatling to lock everything down. You cutting the distance and going through that kind of defense is going to be very, very rough right now. Pokemon is able to really play off of their positions. Look at that, they're simply staying here, waiting for Dangerous Pasta to make a mistake.
Yes, and I think that is the strategy here in Turf War, especially in a map like Ship-Shaped Cargo Co, where you can just hide around all the little blocks and hide around all the little ledges. You just have to wait for your opponent, because their spawn, it's a linear spawn. They have to go in. You have enough players to effectively defend all corridors. So unless all of them decide to go via one little exit, they are stuck in there, and they have nowhere to go.
We're halfway through the game. Pokemon has painted everything, and right now are just holding their side with the Crab Tank to really deny the way in for the 4 Kings. The 4 Kings are still going forward, but they lose a lot of players. The S-Blast that you were talking about, how strong it could be, but it's alone right there. Can that S-Blast stay there? I think they're forced to jump out, and Pokemon is still very much in control of the map. There's still a chance, though. Last minute will allow the team to go in. The Booyah Bomb allows them to go forward with the Reflex. They're able to set some ground, set some paint on the ground. But now they need to go in and they're not able to really get momentum, Hat.
They really need to find a way in now, but like you said, they're struggling to get momentum, they're struggling to get splats, and they're struggling to get their specials.
Ooh.
And Pokemon just not giving up anytime soon. The Reflux went in and got shredded. 22 seconds remainder for the 4 Kings of Dangers Pasta to turn this around. Doable, yes. Difficult, also yes. And with only 15 seconds remaining, it's going to be tough. They lose their Stamper. They lose 3 players again. It's just the NZAP who is in their spawn and a wipeout at the very last second. That means the 4 Kings of Dangerous Pasta, unfortunately, are officially cooked as Pokemon. I feel so mean saying that. The Pokemon, with another super dominating victory, sets himself up to also, I believe, move on. Actually, do they? They do, right?
I'm not sure, but I am thinks. Yeah, top 2 is going to move on to day 2. Day 2, you'll be able to watch on our friends at IPL, who will be streaming the Western version of this incredible LAN right there. Hat, it's going to be time for us, though. That was our group, and that's going to be it for the day. We were able to see great games, great players showing us how to play turf wars, what to do. It's been a blast.
I think we should also implement some turf war into our tournaments. I think it's really fun to watch. I think it always gives off, especially with the first game, gives off some interesting insight and some oddball weapon picks. But before we sign off, of course, SplashGo, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity, of course, from Dapple and from IPL to ask your players some questions and give us like our perspective of how you guys do it there in Japan. I think that's super cool of you to do that. And I think after this, there's just one golden question that we need to ask because we're going to end the stream because I think someone really wants to go to bed. Pat, where can we find you on the internet?
Best way to find me is on Blue Sky. It's written right here, Pat J. or Tom. How about you, Hat?
Well, it's right there. It's Caster Hat on Blue Sky at .nl after that because they forgot. But casterhat.nl is my Blue Sky. I posted some vacation pictures recently. That's all I use it for. So go follow me there, I guess. And I think that's it going to be today for us. And if you live in Europe, I will wish you a wonderful, wonderful afternoon because it's still a long day for you guys. And if you are in America, good night because it's really late.
Bye-bye.